Hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's DMG, and welcome back to Blitz. Today we are going to have some more sub replays. This first one from King Zeus. Now, before I go any further, I do have some announcements for you about the channel, including information about sub replays, which will be very important for you all going forward, should you choose to submit them, of course. 1. Replays no longer need team or battle results screenshots. Now that Wargaming has implemented this new feature that replays show the battle and result screenshot in the replay. It's already in the replay. You don't need to take screenshots and send them in. So I'm sure this makes it more convenient for you to send replays to me for me to feature on the channel. As an aside, look at how accurate this gun is. You saw that shot on that AMX 1375. Lovely accurate gun here. VK3001D at tier 6. It might be a tank that I must pick up, you know, if I keep watching replays like this of it, right? Anyways, hooray that you no longer need to submit that. That's item 1 out of the way. Item 2 is that I'm going to make sub replays for tier 6 at least and above. As much as I like watching low-tier gameplay at times, and I know some of you really enjoy low-tier gameplay, most people have said to me that they would rather see higher-tier gameplay or more on the higher-end scale of higher-tier gameplay than watching tier 4, tier 5, right? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with playing tier 4 and tier 5 or tier 1, 2, and 3, but the amount of ability required to play at, let's say, tier 6 and above is greater than the ability required to play at tier 1. And even at its max, right, it's easier to get a mastery at tier 1 than it is at tier 6. I hope you all understand why I'm doing this. I'm trying to put the best content out there possible. So while it is easier for you to send me replays now that you don't have to include, and look at this perfect movement here, great situational awareness by King Zeus, pushes around to kill the KV-1S while the LTTB is still kept in check. Great stuff there, and those are the kind of consistent things that you need to do to be a uni. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Tier 6 and above, you know, people just want this content more than lower tiers. That's not to say that I will never feature low-tier replays. If I do, I will probably ask for them. Once again, an aside, I keep cutting myself off. Great stuff to King Zeus there. Nice mastery for 2100 damage. Carrying the team. Great stuff. Next replay will be by King Shadow on the NA server. Playing the AC4 Sentinel, has been sending in games for quite a while, and I've finally been able to get a replay of his that I really enjoy and I can feature. Like the VK, this replay will show that the AC4 does have a pretty darn good gun. I definitely think the tank could use supercharge. I'm not sure if it's running it already, but I don't really, other than that, I don't really know much about the AC4 Sentinel as I've never played it. Every time I've gotten it from a crate or from the Blitz fair, I sold it immediately just to get the credits in the garage slot. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So, tier 6 replays and above, you know, I think it shows, like I said, it shows greater mastery over the game. You know, people want to see this content more than they'd like to see lower tier content. And, you know, it helps me stay more organized, because I just get flooded with replays. And, you know, as much as I like watching the KV-1 rec noobs, or, I mean, not even noobs necessarily, but rec teams at tier 5, I think it shows more, I guess, it's more educational for players to see tier 6 and above, as it's more exciting as well. You know, just the general skill level is higher, although in some games and with some players, I'm sure there is room for debate in that area. Anyway, item number 3. I'm trying to showcase everyone in sub replays. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. You know, if you send in a sub replay, and if I have not seen your name before, I make a note of it, and I try and get you in, you know, in the next available slot that I have, and I try and make sure everyone gets a turn. You know, this is not, sub replays are not only about showcasing, you know, just one player all the time. You know, I have my own section for that, right? But, you know, I want to try and, you know, at least be a little bit equal in my distribution, or at least try and be equal in my distribution of who gets to feature in a sub replay. So don't worry, guys, even if you sent in one, there is still a good chance that you will get a feature in a sub replay. That being said, like I said, tier 6 and above, and of course it has to be a master replay of good quality. And so hopefully for those reasons, I will get more views on my content. You'll like my videos more, you know, more subscribers, more publicity. Just an overall, I think, a better move for my content, and I hope you understand why. So that being said, I look forward to seeing some great higher tier sub replays from you guys. A few other offhand notes as I keep going along here is that I plan on doing a remastered version of all the Back to Basics, all the intermediate topics, or at least most of them, right? And the advanced selection topics. I know some people, I can't even say it right. Some people have said to me that they want to see, especially in the Back to Basics videos, they want to see actual examples from in-games. And I always say, well, that's kind of hard for me to do in the time that people want to see that these videos are produced. Going into the game, making sure I'm playing the tank, and then I'm getting the map, or excuse me, the class of tank, and I'm getting the map that I need. You know, all those things need to happen, and the scenario needs to occur where I use that spot. So all the stars basically have to be aligned for those things. And that's why I have foregone showcasing those kinds of examples in videos. I want to get the content out there because, you know, as I've been told, there are not map reviews like mine anywhere on any YouTube channel, at least the in-depth kind, or I wouldn't say even in-depth, but the style that I do them in. So I'm trying to get ideas down for you on video just so you guys can view it and at least get some kind of idea of what I'm trying to say. And as I go back through my videos and, you know, the meta changes and, you know, maps maybe get reworked, you're going to see remastered versions of the Back to Basics videos with examples. I'm just trying to get ideas down onto a piece of paper. As you can see, onto the replay, not to discredit King Shadow whatsoever. Good work against the Chafee and the SU-100 in this moment, doing great work, getting around, and the SU-100 has tried to go for some very chancy HE rolls and has paid the price, unfortunately. Anyways, I think King Shadow is going to finish this one off. We'll see if the SU-100 is able to get out of it. Looks like the traverse on the SU is quite good. King Shadow makes a mistake, but oh, not enough for an HE roll right there. Anyways, good stuff by King Shadow there for a nice 3,600 damage mastery, carrying the team. Great stuff to you. Happy to feature you finally on my channel. Last but not least, about streaming. So I currently use an app called Vidi. Vidi has its own streaming server and it connects to YouTube. I'm not crazy about the IT side of things on how that works, but regardless, I am using it. Sometimes Vidi is a bit finicky, and the streams are a bit laggy, and I apologize for that. I'm trying to find ways around that. If I can figure out how to use Streamlabs, OBS, I'm going to use those instead of Vidi. However, at this time, Vidi is the most convenient, simplest option that I have at my disposal, so I'm going to continue using that. Again, I apologize for the most recent stream that happened. I had to cancel it because the stream was just too laggy, and it was not good enough to showcase in any form or shape whatsoever. Anyways, this is Michael John, or Michael John, playing the STA-1, the Tier 8 Japanese medium tank. This is a fantastic game, you see, and it's making the best out of a bad situation, as the T-43, who, I don't know why, calls left the bridge, which this is essentially just an enormous stalemate over here. But you see some fantastic marksmanship by Michael John in this moment, as he is able to hit the corners of the SU-100M1 quite reliably with this gun. This may be a tank that I might want to pick up again and start playing, as I do think that it may have some good use in Tier 8 tournaments. It has that great, enormous level of heat pen, especially with calibrated shells. You're putting it up over 300, actually, I think. Anyways, back to what I was saying. Vidi, I'm sorry about the streams. I'm going to try figuring it out. If you are skilled with IT and, you know, setting up streams and all that, and it's something that you enjoy, I do recommend you join my Discord server. There you will be able to, if you wish, help me figure out OBS. I do already have a few, or not a few, but one IT person helping me out right now. So if you feel like, maybe volunteering and pitching in a hand, I do occasionally give out iTunes gift cards to those members that I consider on my staff. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, join the Discord, message me, and we can get down to business on helping me improve my content for all of you. That being said, about content, people come and tell me that I am wrong on my content. There was a recent comment, I'll say this by example. There was a recent comment saying that someone does not subscribe because I said that the Borsig was better than the ISU. And I said, I don't like your opinion, so I'm not going to subscribe. Well, that's fine, but I find it pretty silly that you're not going to subscribe if if my opinion is different than yours. And granted, I may be wrong in my opinion. I could be dead wrong. However, keep in mind the kind of player that you're watching. I'm honestly not trying to brag here, but for the strength of my content, I am a 71% player, and I'm going 75% in tier 10. I'm not someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. So when I say that the Borsig is better than the ISU, please, it's not coming from someone who has no idea what they're talking about. So please take my comments with, as they are. Just consider, the source, right? I'm not saying that you can't have a different opinion, and as actually I've played the ISU, my opinion on the tank has changed a bit, and I think it would be a good time to do a review on the tank. Granted, that's just one example, but like I said, just because my opinion is different than yours does not mean you should not subscribe. Anyways, let's watch this replay. It's actually time to start commentating. I apologize to the 3 replays that I appeared to brush over. I didn't mean to whatsoever. These are absolutely fantastic. You're seeing some great brawling skills at close range with a Tiger P. Quite dangerous and risky for Makeljohn in this moment. And STA1 is able to finish off the Tiger P. Great stuff there. Now, the STA1 is kind of like a no-armored Pershing with more penetration. It's like a Indian Panzer with a little bit better gun characteristics. That extremely high heat pen can really come in handy when facing tier 9s, like the ST1 or the E75. And maybe that's why it would be a great tank to use in tier 8 tournaments. And as you can see, Makeljohn is just finishing off this IS-3 using the stock turret and the stock gun. Great stuff there for a nice 4,300 plus damage carry with 4 kills. Absolutely great stuff there. Love free tiering this replay. Showed really great brawling skills. Oh jeez, I just gave away the result and the game is still going. Oh, I just feel like a donkey now. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, you didn't hear me say that. I'm not going to edit that out because I think it's going to be kind of funny. But the KV5 on the other team, Makeljohn's going to do something very smart here, going to play conservative, just keep his distance from the KV5. When you're in a medium tank, and especially in tier 8 mediums are not known for their extremely high DPM, you need to use other factors of the tank, like your mobility and your camouflage. And I know some newer players struggle with using those factors of the tank because they're not raw like DPM and Alpha. But when you're able to exploit these kinds of abilities against heavy tanks, it really makes medium tanks more dangerous than heavy tanks, despite better raw numbers. And the KV4's butt seems to be quite thickly armored, so that shot does not pen. He tries for another one, doesn't hit that one. The KV4 manages to pen, and I don't know what the T43 is doing. I don't know what the heck he's doing. He probably should scream for help right now. T43 is not helping whatsoever, so it's up to Makeljohn to finish off the KV5. Good shot there, and he needs to get another one in. Will he? He does. It rolls a little bit low there. Not great on that one. Guys need another shot. Perfect stuff there, even though a few missed shots made it quite close in that moment. Way to recover it. But like I said before, or just before, you need to hit your shots. That situation never would have occurred if Makeljohn hit his shots originally on the KV5, would have never come down to that close brawling situation. And if there was other tanks, it would have helped conserve hit points for the other ones, if there were other ones. Anyways, this is Sky Warrior 44 playing in the Object 263. This is the Tier 10 Soviet tank destroyer that leads on from the Su-122-54. Now, this tank is loved by Bushka and followers of Bushka, right? I personally don't think this tank is very good. I think that it is quite inflexible. However, Sky Warrior is going to show us what this tank can do when put in the right situation and given the right conditions, right? Anyways, pushes up to this location. I showcased that in my video. If you haven't checked that out, please do. That is a map review of Himmelsdorf. That's a great location to use for the start to catch enemy mediums and enemy heavies crossing from side to side. Anyways, pushing through the enemy spawn, doesn't see anybody, and he wants to get stuck into the opponents. Now, the Object 263 has this extremely high-class DPM, and it's like 3,600, 3,700, something ridiculous. Only second to the Jagdtiger, I believe. Now, the tank has an IS-7 gun, however it's more accurate and it has a little bit better penetration. But the alpha is the same, the penetration is roughly the same, except for the premium rounds being about 20 to 30 millimeters more. Anyways, fantastic DPM allows Sky Warrior to cut right through the lower plate of the T95 using AP. I'm not really sure if he's using calibrated shells or not. He should be running a rammer because it is a 263. However, if he is using calibrated shells, it is serving him well in this moment. And he's able to cut right through the belly of the object. Excuse me, the T95. That tank really needs to be buffed by Wargaming. Anyways, back to the 263. Now, you're saying, well, if it has high DPM, has great mobility, as you can see right here, what's so bad about it? And, you know, apparently, look, by that bounce, it has decent enough armor, so it's not paper either. Well, there's a few problems with the 263. The 263 cannot create I shoot you, but you cannot shoot me situations. Every time the 263 has to shoot at somebody, they can shoot back, as the area around the gun, that kind of square area, is easily penable by medium tank heat and above. The sides are very weak as well, which means you cannot side scrape whatsoever like a Jagdpanzer E100. And what's compounds even worse is that you have a very narrow gun arc, so this means you have to be flat on and front facing to your enemy to be able to get any kinds of shots. And while Sky Warrior is doing a great job of isolating the amount of guns that are, or not isolating, but minimizing the amount of guns that are on him at one time, the enemies are also not shooting back. And, you know, this kind of situation is perfect for a 263, but to say that this kind of situation happens frequently enough, I would say it doesn't. Now, he's going to go encounter an E100 soon up right here. He's going to be able to put some shots into him, and you're going to see the fantastic DPM of the Object 263 go to work. And if the enemies don't fire heat, it's great. But when they do, it's not so great. And so it's really this, you know, feast or famine kind of thing with the Object 263. It doesn't really seem to be there's a good in-between kind of zone for this tank. Personally, I think, you know, a few different kinds of buffs could come to this tank and it would make it strong but not OP. I think side armor could be one thing where it could actually side scrape a bit, bounce a shot, and then put 1 or 2 in return into the enemy. I also think buffing the mantlet in the front could be a possible buff, but I think that actually might make it a bit too OP, as, you know, you could just simply go haul down and spray at people. I also think gun depression and gun arc could be the third buff. I think that would be the kind of like the middle ground, not the weakest but not the strongest buff, and would make it decent. You know, it would give it a little bit more flexibility. And great switch up here to HE, goes right into the butt of the E4, sets him on fire. Fantastic stuff there, and takes him right out of the game. Lovely, lovely work right there. That IS-7 Alpha with HE is fantastic, and when you set an enemy on fire, it just absolutely ruins the E4's day. Unfortunately for Sky Warrior, he will not be able to get the last remaining enemy, as his teammate does take out the red from the game, and he will finish with a mighty 6,300 damage and 4 destroyed. Mastery badge makes a decent credit profit at that, and actually, if you watch, can't talk today, right? If you watch in the team results screen, the detailed results screen, he will pen all of his shots and take no damage in return. Not a scratch at all for Sky Warrior 44. If you enjoyed that content, please hit that like button and subscribe for more. I hope to see you on stream sometime. I hope to see you send in a sub replay so I can feature it. As always, I appreciate the opportunity to share my passion with you today, and I hope to see you next time.